Hey, like I said, I was extremely lucky. You talk about, Vampiro. You talk about Chavo and his family, man.
Yeah.
Chavo's family taught me the business. I mean, like right when I got there, he'll vouch for it. Um, all of you guys were an integral part in building the character that people saw. Because I had no idea what was going on in the wrestling business,
Mm.
as many people will state to this day. But I was a football player, and I will always be a football player. And you taught me a lot. I mean, you taught me everything that I know. So, knobs and sags and the Steiners, and I mean the list goes on and on. And to be able to be in WCW when all of you guys were there, I mean, what a blessing it was. The good, the bad, and the ugly, but it was all an unbelievable experience that I look back on. And obviously WCW was where it all was for me. I never wanted to segue to WWE for one reason or another. I did, and I was happy that I did. But to be able to be in the business at that time and be, you know, under y'all's tutelage at WCW was an absolute freaking honor, man. It was awesome.
Our family.
I just want to ask a question. I want to ask a question on that right there, because that's a question that a lot of people always wonder about, and they always, question themselves on. And you just said it yourself. And I'm going into my radio show mode. But
Go
no,
for it.
no, but you was talking about you never really wanted to go to WWE, right? You never really wanted to do that.
No, I mean it was for me. It was the enemy, right?
Okay, okay. Now my question is, at that point in time, it didn't really matter, if you did it, or not. But after you've done it and like done the WrestleMania stuff, what do you recommend some young kid that's getting in the business?
Man,
Because
have a seriously open mind. But it's not like it used to be. It's not that hatred that we had for the opposing
no,
team.
no, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. Is what I'm
No,
saying
but
is no, no.
that's the reasoning that I had, because I never wanted to go there just because of that reason. And I didn't understand what WrestleMania and those things were like. So
No, no,
I didn't have an open mind.
I get it. This what I'm saying though. It's like so many young kids today. I see them out there, and they got like so much talent, right? They got an abundance of talent,
Mhm.
and they go, man, I never want to do WrestleMania. That's not my thing. And I say, man, if you're in this business and you
Yeah,
don't want to do WrestleMania at least once, you out of your
absolutely.
damn mind because
Yeah, I mean,
that
hey,
is
waiting the 3 years and one watching you guys working up there killed me, right? I wanted to be there so bad, but I was listening to, the people who ran my my agents, right? And I would walk the street and kids would beg me to go back to wrestling and to go to WWE. And to think that because of the hatred that I had for them back in the past,
yeah,
that I
yeah,
wouldn't ever have done that and
yeah,
experience the WrestleMania and
yeah,
experience the SummerSlam. I
yeah,
mean, hey man, I was pretty stupid back then.
yeah,
And
yeah.
to get into the business, that's like being a football player as a kid and not wanting to play in the Super Bowl.
That's what I say. There's a lot of young guys out there that say that, and I urge them, guys, that should be your ultimate. If even if you just do it one
That's
time.
crazy not to be at the pinnacle of the business, right? Because if you're
Yeah,
going to do something, you might as well be the best at it, right? Because
yeah, yeah,
I'm not going to jump into any pool and not try to swim better than every other dude there,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're a kid in the wrestling business now and you don't set that as your goal, I think you might be in the wrong business.
You might be shorting yourself. That's the way. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Vampiro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I want to, Bill. I loved your answer, and I know Chavo should jump in on this one too. Book. I would say to because I do a lot of seminars and public speaking and stuff. I would say three things. One, if you say you don't want to go to WrestleMania, then you're an asshole because you're going to make $1 million for one day. And if you don't want to do that, then do something else.
Yeah,
The other thing is have realistic expectations. What was 20 years ago is not today. Have an alternate stream of income and understand this is not your future. Put all
yeah,
you can into it, but what you go up on the way up, You're going to pass on the way down. You find something, be realistic. Not everybody's making $40 million and flying in private planes, but you can make a living and have a great experience. So my thing is, learn how to invest not only in you and your community and your family, but your money, but also find an alternative stream of income. Because if you're going to be a hot shot for 4 or 5 years, you got to sustain that. You got a family, you got a wife who wants to trust you. You got kids who have to go to school. You know, a lot of that shit they didn't teach us.
But
Those,
these days you have to have that outlook no matter what you're doing, because in the football business, the only thing that I ever wanted to do in my entire life, I played 4 years in the NFL, and I think months after I got cut and got hurt, I had got a phone call from my attorney saying, you know what, you might want to get off your ass and go do something because you didn't make enough money to sustain, right?
Yeah.
So no matter what your career is, I think you should always have an alternate plan. You should always have a backup that you're working on, you know?
But no one talks to us about that stuff. Book
Well,
doesn't.
look, we're all old now, and we've learned through good times and bad times. But
Chavo's going to agree
would
with
be
me on
nice.
this one, because when we book our generation, we were a boom. Buff, we were a boom. No, there was no really veterans to kind of, you know, pull our ears and set us aside. I've worked with some of Book students on shows I've done, and those guys are educated correctly. They're polite, they're professional, yes, but they also understand the reality of the business. So I'd like to congratulate Booker for teaching his students all of that shit, because no one taught us that stuff.
Well, that's the most important stuff there is.
Yeah.
You know what, man? 20 years ago, this December, I started my school 20 years ago, right?
Damn.
And I just wanted to try to do something, you know, create something that was different than anybody else. And now, you know, 20 years later, we just launched, actually we're going to do three television shows now instead of one. It's amazing that we've gotten this far. You know, we get to the point to where we're actually getting ready to start the process on a 2,000 seat arena. So it's amazing what we're doing through reality of wrestling. That's why I say it's so amazing now to be able to have your own streaming revenue, you know, because, you know, we're close to like 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And now we can actually do all of our stuff in-house. We don't need anybody. We got our own satellite truck and everything, you know, so we can create our own magic. And that's what I always said about the wrestling business. That's why I really never complain. I say, man, guys, you know, if you're going to complain, go get your own wrestling company and create your own wrestlers and see how that work out for you. So, and that's what I did.
if you build it, they will come, man. And you did. I remember you started that. You remember you started that company, and you saying, man, I just want to do something that not only gives back, but it creates another revenue stream. And you saw that vision. That's awesome. I'm going to circle back real quick to what Bill was saying. You know, Bill, we had a little bit, my family had a little bit to do with helping you a little bit, but as we all did, we all had certain people that molded us and put us in the right direction. But it was your talent that shone through, period. So you became who you were by, you know, we sprinkled in, other people sprinkled in a little bit, other people sprinkled in, but it just worked because of you, because of who you were and how you made that character. Nobody else could have done it that way. Nobody. And
Nobody.
A lot of people try to copy it, and there was only one. It's like I always say, there's a lot of people try to copy Rey Mysterio. There's one Rey Mysterio. You know, look at Booker. Booker had a lot of people influence him and teaching him, but he made it because of himself. What he did, he took the little people, but his talent shone through. Vamp's talent showed through. If you guys don't know, Vamp he was like a Hulk Hogan in Mexico. I remember going there and visiting my dad and Eddie when they were wrestling for CMLL and seeing this guy, and it was crazy. The women would, crazy. It was crazy. Buff at the same time. You became Buff Bagwell because it was you. Nobody else could have done it.
But we were all extensions of our own personality, and that was the beauty of it. And we let all of that shine through.
What's that?
Chavo, please put Buff under me. Let's clear that shit up right now.
He's under all.
All right. Hey, man, Chavo's dad and rest in peace, man. Chavo's dad he was my partner. They hired Chavo's dad to keep me in line. They hired Chavo's dad to keep me in line.
Wrong guy.
And Haku was to protect the Golden
Jesus.
Boy. If anybody fucked with me, looked at me the wrong way, Haku would just spit on his bicep and he would fucking hit guys in the whole thing. But Chavo's dad, he was my partner, and he would beat the shit out of me. And I'd be like, "You're supposed to be my partner." He would, "No, fuck you." And like Chavo's dad was the real deal. So all of us here, it just brings back a lot of memories. Book, I remember playing video games with you. Bill, I remember you one time we were in the hallway and you were like, "Do I throw a side kick like this?" And I was like, "Well, fuck yeah, you do." And Chavo, Chavo, we spent so much time together. And Buff, I don't know how many times it took you fucking finish. I'm ready to feed you right now. I tell you guys are my brothers, man, and it's just really good to see you all.
Yeah,
And Chase, man, you're a new homie, but cheers, brother.
Well, again, I touched on this earlier, and Vampiro and Booker T and Chavo were on here, but I got to really digress and say that you three had more to do with anything and everything that people saw when I was at WCW and to this day. So, I mean, Dallas. I mean, I won't even go back to where we met and the things that we did. And Sting, I looked up to you like God, as I still do. And Bagwell, fuck, you're just Bagwell. So, I mean, you were always around and you were always such a presence. You always put a smile on everybody's face. You had a plethora of knowledge. But seriously, I'm going to digress and say that I would not be anything in the wrestling business without these gentlemen that are on the screen, more so than anybody that I rubbed shoulders with. The Steiners had a lot to do with it. You know, Kurt Hennig had a lot to do with it. Kevin Nash. But Jesus, Louises. I mean, you got Bagwell. Remember when we got to tell the story about Main Event Fitness, right?
I was just going to say, if we get Lex on here, we're going to have all the parties involved.
Exactly.
Do you remember that? Go ahead.
The best part of this story is Bill thinks that I was making fun of him, and it was Lex that was doing his Herman Munster. Steve, tell Bill.
Oh no, I don't. Marcus, you remember we were doing incline dumbbell presses. Bill was all the way down at the far end of the gym.
I'm so embarrassed.
And then Lex was in the next incline bench right next to him. You were next after him, but we were separated by about 5 yards apiece. And then I was all the way across on the other end, and Lex was doing his deal, dip, 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 on all of his reps, dip, da, da. So all I remember is hearing Bill say, blow it out your, and I was like, I'm on the very end, and I looked at you and I said, "Did you hear what I think I heard?" And you said, "I think I did." And Bill was obviously talking directly to Lex.
No, Steve, here's what you don't know. He was talking directly to me.
Exactly.
Listen to me. He has thought, listen, it's important you hear this. Bill Goldberg, for years, until right this moment, has thought it was me making fun of him. Tell him, Bill.
Are you kidding?
Yes.
You just found out today that it was.
You're the partner in crime. You're the goof of the bunch. I knew it was you.
For years, Steve, he's done podcasts. He's told stories. He's wrote a freaking book about it.
Talking about me?
Wow.
And I loved him. I was like, I love Bill. I love you. I didn't do it. It was a joke. I swear to God, it was Lex. But he never heard none of it.
I was like 325 working out with power lifters, bending bars in that gym. And I thought all of you were making fun of me, but I knew it was you. I thought it was you.
I love you, Bill, and I swear it wasn't.